Hello, welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I'm Felicia Connor.
And I'm Tawny, right?
And today we are joined by a most wonderful guest, Phil from the Horror Project podcast. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, Phil.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be joining you.
Yes, thank you for being on. What people don't know is that we've been trying to organize this for literally months.
Oh, yeah.
That's how bad we wanted you on our podcast. We were like, we had to plan it out 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, leave me alone. Okay, I'll come on.
Jesus. That's like literally, it's 2 where I am, 3 where Tawny is, and 8 where you are, right?
5 minutes past 9 in the evening now.
Big time difference.
Rock and roll, baby.
Well, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. And we're super excited. The movie you brought is Christine. So very excited to be talking about that.
Have you guys talked about it on your podcast?
No, I imagine that you've got like a super mega massive list of films that gets longer every week. And it's just one of those films on a list that's, we could do that one day. Yeah. But it's always been in the back of our minds to do it at some point. But yeah, it got put forward for you guys. And I think Felicia snaffled it up.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
I got the vibe. It was, Christine, let's do Christine. So yeah, let's do Christine. Why not?
I gave a lot of vibe over that Instagram message.
There was strong vibe.
Strong vibes. So, well, you know what? First, before we get into learning more about you, how about we find out what we're all drinking? So, Phil, what are you drinking?
It's a new one for me. Where's the bottle? It is I love Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh.
It's a white wine tonight. And I've got to say, it's a little rough.
Really?
It's not so good. Okay. This cost me £8. So it's in the top end of my wine spends. Not the best.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So, but I'll plow through.
Okay. It's like, at least if it's cheap, you're like, well, it was cheap.
I could kind of expect
it. Might taste better the longer I go on with it.
Probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
Felicia, what are you drinking that I just saw you pull up to your mouth? It looks very fancy.
I was going to ask you, but you're a sweetie. This is, let me get it right this time, Moscow Mule. Because I was calling them mojitos. And then a podcast in Elm Street called me out. I was like, why are you drinking your mojito in a copper cup? And I'm like, because it's not one. So I'm drinking a Moscow Mule. I think it has Kirkland, so Costco brand vodka, which is real good. And then, the other stuff that makes a Moscow Mule. I think it's ginger beer. Ginger beer and lime, actually. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all winning. So that sounds nice.
It's nice. How about you, Tawny?
You always got like fancy cocktails. You're just so cool. So much cooler.
So I'm trying.
I am drinking a red wine tonight. I got a box of Syrah. I don't know if that's how you say it.
I think
Shiraz. It's usually like
Shiraz?
Yeah, it's usually like spelled differently. So I don't know. But it's good.
I love boxed wine. Boxed wine is so good.
It is, and it's very economical. You get a lot of wine for not a ton of money, and that is good.
Do you feel like a complete legend every time you use the little nozzle and pour yourself a little glass? I love doing that.
Yes, I do.
I love it. Complete legend. Shit, I need some boxed wine. I've never had boxed wine.
Real? You've never had boxed wine?
It's great.
No, I don't think I've ever
had
boxed wine in my life. Because when I was younger, I hated wine. I was just a Mad Dog 2020, Mickey's 40s, Fuzzy Navel Boons, that type of thing. Then I just moved into vodka. And so it took me until later in my years to now, I love whiskey, and Tawny does as well. And it was when I was older, my late 20s, when I went to Paris and had red wine. I started off with rosé and then I had red, and I loved it. And so we have this little wine fridge. So I just always get bottles or else we don't have it. So I've just never tried it. But I have I'm not trying to be snotty. I have cheap bottles of wine in my wine fridge. That was a gift for our wedding. Okay. Got it. I just have never had boxed wine. So it's good.
Yeah. It depends on the type.
Have you ever done that? Have you done that thing with the boxed wine? So you're down to the dregs, the last few drops.
Oh, yeah.
You remove the box, take out the plastic blood bag, and just squeeze it for every last drop.
I'll do you one better. This is one that I learned from Jade's parents, who also like drinking a lot of boxed wine. This is where I got the boxed wine from. My appreciation of it is his parents. What you do, because you don't even get it all that way. You got to cut the corner off of it and pour the rest of it out of the wine bag. Yes. Every straight last in. Drop. Yep.
And that is why boxed wine is classier than
that is
anything else.
I'm convinced.
Exactly.
I'm convinced. Cutting that corner of that plastic bag sounds way classier than the corkscrew thing. And
definitely. Definitely.
I love it. All right. That was fun. That was super fun. Phil, I'm going to start off. We'd love to just share about you. I probably should have done this first. I was just excited to see what everyone was drinking. About you and Lauren, your podcast.
Yes, so we are the Horror Project podcast. We've just turned 1 year old in October, which is nice.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
And to celebrate, we are now hibernating and having a break. So this is officially the last recording we're going to do for a little while. We're going to come back in January. It's literally one of those things, life-work balance thing.
Yeah.
So we both work for this company. We do TV guides. So this time of year from now, so Halloween till the new year, we turn into like Christmas elves. And it's just all about getting TV guides ready for Christmas. And it's just, we both work different shifts. It just makes it nearly impossible to do husband and wife things, let alone a podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm glad that you guys are taking that time for yourself. That's awesome.
It's important.
It's kind of cool. Yeah. We can kind of try and brainstorm some new ideas and maybe some new things we might bring to the podcast, but probably we'll just come back and do the same old shit we always do. But I'm telling myself we're going to revamp, we're going to come back stronger and do this and do that. Probably not, but it is quite nice to have a little breather, because we've done a weekly podcast. Like you'll know as well, it's tough to maintain a podcast week in, week out. So yeah, I'm going to try and enjoy a little break.
Yeah, that'll be good. But also, just on the coming back stronger, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You guys are killing it already.
I know. I'm just thinking, what cool new features. Could I design a new logo? Could I do this? Could I do that? Probably not. I just know myself. I'm quite a lazy person as well. So we'll probably just enjoy the break, come back, and just carry on.
You know what? I totally did that. I'm the same way. And I logged in. I'm like, our audio graphics, our new episode graphics, we've been doing this forever. I'm going to switch it up. So you'll notice that the episode Scream that Tawny did with Josh, it's different. And then all the rest of them are the same. Like, well, maybe later. I did that one, and then trying to figure it out for the rest of them. I'm like, let's just go back to the other ones.
Yeah.
Yep, you got to just do what works,
I think so. But yeah, talking about things that work, I know you guys are absolutely smashing it as well. So quite a thrill to join you today. Like, I'm a big fan as well. So seeing your little faces on my screen is really cool.
Both of us we're so stoked to have you. And especially just that it's like you're one of your last for the year. I feel extra honored now.
Yeah, we're so excited.
I'm coming out of retirement 1 week later. We literally just announced that we're having a break, and it's like, I think we announced last Friday that we're going to have a break, and it's now the following Saturday.
Yeah. It literally was.
I'm back.
I logged in, I saw we're not doing episodes, and as I went to message you, you messaged, but we will do your episode. And I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tawny was like, Felicia. I'm like, we're
all messaging each other.
It was literally, I'm going to post this, and milliseconds later, I have to message you too, because we've had this in the pipes for like forever.
Years.
Yeah.
This was never not going to happen today, though, by the way. This was always going to happen.
Okay, good.
I'm so glad, because I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about it. This movie.
I would love to know, what is your favorite episode that you've done for your podcast that you guys have done?
Ooh. It's not a film that I particularly love, but I really... You know, I was talking about getting the right blend of just maybe being a little drunk, how funny you are, how much fun you have with your co-host. And I just think our Blair Witch Project episode came out really well. I don't know what it is, because we kind of shit on that film a little bit as well. Like, it's not one of my favourites, but I just listened back to it and was like, yeah, that was a good one. And also, it's one of our most popular episodes, it seems to be. That,
oh, interesting.
You know, it skyrocketed, that it's like got the most listens for some reason. So yeah, I think that was a good one.
Yeah.
Nice.
I won't tell you there's a few that I know that are dog shit that I hate. I won't tell you which
Because we'll go listen to them so we can see.
Yeah, they're really bad. There's some really bad ones in there as well.
I think one of my favorites of your guys's is that I've listened to is the Black Christmas episode.
Oh yeah, that was quite an old one. Yeah, it was good. I think that was sort of a turning point episode where I think when we first started, it was just us regurgitating scene for scene everything that happened. I think we kind of, we could just talk about the film without reciting every single moment. It's more of a conversation. I think
yeah, like more of
turning
your
point.
Opinions or something. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and I think when Laura came on, 'cause she didn't do the first episode, but joined me up for the second and then onwards. It instantly became better, and we get a lot of comments saying, "Oh yeah, Laura's really funny. Laura's the best one. Laura's brilliant." So I feel like me being alone with you guys is a bit of a disservice.
No.
So imagine there's someone funnier here.
Ghostface. And for people that
Ghostface.
are watching the video, he has Ghostface mask in the corner.
Yeah, behind him.
I tried to spook up the set a little bit. I've put on a Dracula t-shirt just to try and be a bit horror for you guys.
I love it. You know what I love? I don't know what kind of car it is, but there's a car in the background, and that's awesome. It's perfect. It's a
it
little
looks
white
like a
car.
Ghostbusters car, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Tawny, you've got good eyes. That is the Ghostbusters Lego.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
It's my first piece of Lego, and I'm afraid it might be a dangerous obsession now, because it was so much fun making that thing. It was really expensive, but it was like quite relaxing and therapeutic to I'm just going to do this with Lego for a few hours. And yeah.
That's cool. Like a puzzle.
A dangerous new hobby. Yeah, it's like a 3D jigsaw.
Oh, neat.
It was good.
That's very cool. So soon, next year, when we have you guys on again, watch his sofa will be Legos. Like everything will be made out of Legos. Like Legoland.
All the furniture.
We're going to do a Lego podcast. That's change our lives.
I love it. I have on here, so you kind of said that. So if I remember back, I would have to check through our messages, but I have Christine, why this movie? And you're like saying, because I wanted to do it. But didn't you put the movie forward as an option?
I did. I totally did. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did. So I put together I looked at the mega long, massive list we've got, and I picked out maybe a handful of films, because you can send massive lists back and forth.
Yeah.
So I thought, what do I really like? So Christine did make the grade on the shorter list. And I think that is when you were, I'm having a bit of Christine. I'll take that.
Exactly. You kept saying, I know, because I kept going back to Tawny. Well, you give me some suggestions too. And I was like, Tawny, do you have any? I'm good with this list.
Sold.
It is like the hardest thing is choosing a movie, I think, for going on to other people's podcasts. It's like, I don't know. It's like, feels like you got one shot and you want to pick something that's going to be a good discussion, but hopefully nobody hates it totally,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really mind if both of you hate Christine. It makes for a funny, entertaining conversation if we all love it and it's really good, it's a cult classic, blah blah blah.
Right.
I quite like it when someone totally shits on a film.
The divisiveness, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I loved your episode on The Shining as well.
Oh, Tawny. Tawny's always.
There was some opinions in that one.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. But I love that. Like, you were not afraid to just say, it's a beloved film. People think it's one of the best horror films ever made, but no, there's some shitty bits and it's not great. There's some bits I don't like. I really love that.
Thanks. I do like that too. I like listening to other people's opinion. I think I listened to your Blair Witch Project episode, and I think I remember just being like, wow, I'm shocked somebody in the world doesn't totally love this movie, because I'm somebody who like totally loves it. But I was like, it's great to just hear another perspective on it, like just, yeah. And then I find myself, agreeing. Like, I see why people would feel that way about this movie or that movie or whatever. So, yeah.
Seems like there's some horror films that have like, there's a locked in place opinion, like The Shining. Everyone loves The Shining. Everyone loves The Exorcist. If you say something different, you are wrong.
Right.
It's like, well, no, you can say that The Shining's a bit shitty if you want to. You know what I mean?
If you think
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So same goes for us. If we're down for the completely honest opinions.
We are all about everyone has different opinions. We honor them all. I agree with you. It's a fun discussion when everyone's really excited about it, or it's split, or everyone really hates it. It's just fun in the discussion. Yep.
Yeah.
I do want to show you my Shining mouse mat, though. I do have a cool mouse mat.
Oh, nice.
That is cool.
Do people still have mouse mats? I don't know.
I have one.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I have one right here. It has my drinks on it.
Yep. I use it as a coaster.
And then I have a long one on my desk. Nice.
I didn't know if mouse mats were still alive, but that's good to hear.
Yeah. I guess know
so.
How people don't use them.
Losers.
I know.
Losers.
Get yourself
Our
one.
opinion on that. Go get a mouse mat, for Christ's sake.
It might be controversial, but I think mouse mats are cool.
I think they're cool too.
To give some of our listeners just kind of an idea of what you like, maybe, Phil, like what are your top, just a handful of maybe your favorite horror movies, or if you have like a favorite subgenre or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you why Christine made the list. It kind of leads into some of my faves. So when I was younger, my dad, do you know Homer Simpson works at the power station?
Yep.
And he works funny shifts and he works at nights and all the rest of it. My dad was a Homer Simpson working in a power station in one of those rooms.
Oh,
okay.
Doing the same job as Homer, basically. So he'd work late at night and I'd be at home with my younger sister, who's 4 years younger than me. And my mum would use me as like a security blanket. So my mum was a horror fan. She's no longer around. She sadly passed away. But some of my big horror favourites are the films I was used as a security blanket to watch. Aww. So she'd say, oh, there's a film on tonight. I know you like vampires. Do you want to watch The Lost Boys? My mum would be terrified, so she'd use me to watch The Lost Boys. You can stay up till midnight for the first time in your life if you want.
That's
cool.
Cute.
So I'd watch The Lost Boys, so that is one of my favourites. Fright Night, again, same story. And Christine is also one of those films where, do you want to stay up tonight and watch a horror film with me? Okay. And then that's a memory and a great film that I enjoy. So I'm quite a nostalgic person. So some of my faves are like Christine. Misery, which I know you guys covered. That was one where she took me in bed after watching the film. Oh, it was a scary film. Took me in right up to my neck. And then she'd pretend to be like Kathy Bates and scare the shit out of me.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, it's Lost Boys, it's Fright Night, it's Misery. Those are some of the films that spring to mind.
Yeah, that you grew up on. That's so cute.
Yeah,
I love that story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But looking back, it's just, I know totally that she only asked me because she was too scared to watch them.
But what a great shared experience. That's really nice.
Yeah. So it's those kind of films that when we've covered them, it's like, oh, well, they're going to get the best scores and they're going to go down the well, the best and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying where Christine ranks compared to some of those that I mentioned.
Okay.
We'll save that.
We'll save it. Yeah. I was wondering...
Save my true opinion.
You answered my other question that I was going to ask, is just like how you came to horror. Is that kind of the gist of it? Is, just watching those movies with your mom? And did you
a little bit
like
that.
them?
And, yeah, I loved them as well. And like I had a friend at school I'm still pals with who has been a guest on the podcast a few times, my mate Rob. Just as young primary school kids, we just love spooky stuff and ghost stories and the classic werewolves, vampires, ghosts, and all that stuff. And I don't know where it came from, really. It's just something you pick up in the ether. Oh, yeah, I'm into this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we're born that way.
Yeah, I don't really remember a specific thing on TV or a specific film that made me interested in it. I just always was.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Is it a similar way in?
I'd say it's true for me. I don't remember a time before I liked and appreciated horror. Like, I remember landmark moments, you know, like I remember reading the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books, and that really gave me a big fascination with scaring my friends, like reading the stories to them and scaring them. And I don't know, I think it's like you said, it's always been with me. It's just been things that have influenced me as I've gotten older, but I tend to lean more towards like the dark side of everything. Like I like darker, you know, movies and stuff, like even on the drama side, like, I don't know, I just have a tendency to like that, even though I'm not like I'm like an optimistic, I don't know, person. It's really weird, but
yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in scary stories to tell in the dark, the darker sides of things. I remember I was a kid and my parents went to England and we went to the London Dungeon. I was so fascinated with that. I do remember my mom had me very young. She was only like 20. And so she watched scary movies and I was right there. And so I always remember them being around, but also I've just always been just interested in that. I'm the same thing as Tawny. If dramas, I like them to be a little, like if something goes, like there's a quote from, you know, a magazine, disturbing. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I want to see this. Yes, please. All right. Well, I think that we're ready to get into it. Before we do, just in case this is the first episode you're listening to, we spoil the movie. We go wherever we want. We talk about whatever we want. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want it spoiled, it's very old, but still, you might not have seen it. Then you might want to turn back now if you don't want it ruined for you.
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
All
Let's
right.
do this.
All right. Shit, that was perfect. All right. So we are talking about Christine, and it was made in 1983. I watched it on Amazon Prime. I saw you could watch it on AMC as well. And, you know, maybe there's some other places, but that was the main ones. The director is John Carpenter, and we also know him from lots of stuff, notably Halloween, The Thing, you probably know. It was adapted from a Stephen King novel by the same name, Christine. The budget was $10 million and the box office was $21 million. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 69%, IMDb a 6.7 out of 10, and Letterboxd 3.4 out of 5. Our cast of characters. Keith Gordon played Arnie. John Stockwell played Dennis. Alexandra Paul was Lee. Harry Dean Stanton was the detective Junkins, and Robert Prosky was Darnell. Tawny. Let's move into, there needs to be music here. I'm going into 2 minutes with Tawny.
This is the, you know, I don't want to shit on the rest of your podcast, but this is the reason I'm here, to witness in real life 2 minutes with Tawny.
Nice.
The stuff of legends. I want to see it in one take.
Oh, I mean, shit, now there's all this pressure. Okay, here we go. In 1957, a red Plymouth Fury is on the assembly line at Chrysler. The hood slams on one of the workers' hands, and another mysteriously dies inside of it. 20-ish years later, best friends Arnie and Dennis go to school where Arnie is confronted by some advanced Stephen King bullies with switchblades. On the way home, Arnie spots a broken-down red Plymouth Fury and talks to George LeBay, the owner, who says its name is Christine, and he'll sell it to him for $250. Arnie buys it from him despite Dennis repeatedly trying to talk him out of it, believing it's not worth that much. When Arnie shows up at home, his parents are mad and refuse to let him park it at home, which sends him and the car to Darnell's do-it-yourself garage. Arnie fixes up Christine, ditches his glasses, and asks out the new hot girl at school with all his newfound confidence. Dennis finds out the previous owner and his whole family died in the car. Arnie becomes obsessed with Christine, which his girlfriend Lee is not happy with. And after mentioning it, she's locked in the car while choking and almost dies. The school bullies, led by marble statue Buddy Repperton, go to the garage and beat the shit out of Christine. Arnie is devastated and begins repairing her, but she repairs herself in front of him. She then begins a rampage, killing all the bullies and the owner of the garage. Lee and Dennis both realize something is wrong with the car, so they decide to destroy it. They set a trap at the garage, but Christine bests them by hiding in a pile of garbage. She rams the desk, which sends Arnie, apparently possessed and driving, through the windshield. He dies from being impaled by glass. Lee and Dennis then crush the car into a block, and the camera zooms in to show a little bit of the metal still moving. The end.
Bravo! Bravo!
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and go into an overall review of how you felt about the movie. So let's go ahead and start with Phil. Phil, how do you feel about this movie?
Generally, I think it's a good fun. It's a good fun ride. Get it right?
Yeah, nice. Good one.
It's just overall, it's quite entertaining. You can kind of turn your brain off a little bit and just go along with it. And it feels like a dark version of Grease. He fixes up a car to get the chicks, but then it deviates and the car kind of takes him and his friends out. But overall, I think it's a fun, entertaining film. What would you say?
I really like that that analogy. It was very Grease-esque. I could see that. Tawny. I'm going to go with Tawny. I'm going to go last. Tawny, how did you feel about this movie?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Phil.
I was prepared for this.
Because I fucking loved this movie.
Shut up! I was so prepared for you to hate this movie or just dislike it.
Me three. I was like, I'm gonna hate this movie. It's a dumb concept, it seems like. I was like, I've never watched it because I just thought this is gonna be dumb as hell. I'm not stoked. How are you gonna make a car scary? I don't get it. And I don't think it's really a scary movie or anything. But holy shit, was I surprised. I was like,
good.
I love this. So I don't know where Felicia landed, but I do have some things to make fun of. So I think we'll have a nice, funny conversation in the, I don't know, maybe you guys will agree with these things, but I was really blown away. And Jade also watched the first part of it with me, and he thought he was going to walk away. He ended up sitting there and watching the whole movie with me, and both of us were like, that was really fucking good.
I didn't see that coming at all. I thought, well, yeah, Felicia's probably going to enjoy this, and you're not. and that will be the dynamic of the episode.
No,
I don't know why. I just thought you'd think, oh yeah, it's awful, it's rubbish.
It makes sense. It makes sense that you would think because I thought I would dislike it. I usually don't like 80s horror because it's over the top and cheesy, and it should be something I wouldn't like, but I really loved it.
So I'm going to disappoint Phil now because I fucking loved this movie. So now you have three people that loved it, and we're not going to have the back and forth. No, I loved it. I had this emotional reaction, just like Carrie. Carrie's different topics or different, themes. But I loved it, and I loved Christine, and I fucking loved it. That's all I could say. And it made me happy listening to how you watched it with your mom, because my little one, TT, watched it with me. And she loved it. And she, at the end, was like, wow, Christina's a badass. And I was like, I know, right? I loved it. And we'll get into all the different reasons. Yeah.
That's cute.
It's funny you mentioned Carrie as well, because watching it today, Carrie kind of popped into my head a little bit as well. I know it's Stephen King again, but it's like a male version of Carrie in some ways. Yeah.
I had that thought too, watching it. I was like, this is the, gender reversal of Carrie in a lot of ways.
I can see
I
what
also
you're
had
saying.
a funny vision of Stephen King. Obviously, at this time he's at his absolute peak, and he's done the Scary Hotel, and he's done the town taken over by vampires. I just imagine by now it's who gives a shit? Haunted car, whatever. Next. But anything he did turn to gold. But whatever, just churn it out. A car.
Yeah. He's like, what else? A dog? Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Stop it, you guys. No, he gave it more thought. No, that's funny. And actually, you hit the nail on the head. He was so popular at this time that the film went into production before the book was even published.
Really?
Yeah, he was working with the producer on the Salem's Lot series. Or the producer was working with him already, knew him because of the Salem's Lot series. And so since they knew each other, he was sharing with the producer, sorry, producer, I totally forgot your name and didn't write it down. He was sharing with him that he was currently writing Christine and Cujo. And the I think John Carpenter was working with another company on Firestarter. Which is, I don't know, Phil, if you saw Firestarter when you were a kid. I did. And I have like these nostalgic, but I haven't seen it since. With Drew Barrymore.
I read the book.
Okay.
I've read the book, so I've done the opposite. So I've never read Christine. So I thought, I'll watch the film and that'll do for me. So yeah, I've read a lot of Stephen King, but I've never got around to
watching the movie.
Christine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I totally... forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah. So he was working with him on so everybody, all these directors and producers were all around Stephen King working on his different stuff. He's writing and they're making movies before it's done. Like, can you imagine? Wow. You just want to be able to write some books. And now it's just like a hunger for everything that you are creating. I just think it's so awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's amazing though. Like just the last few years, it's still happening. Like It films and all the rest of it. It's just, it seems to have waves where people are just insatiable for Stephen King content on screen or more books or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too. Is like his heyday is still happening. Like when are we not going to be obsessed with Stephen King?
I feel he is a legend where I don't think it will ever die. Like he may stop creating and he will still be just as famous and popular and sought after, even if he's not even creating anything. He's a legend at this point.
He's done too much now to ever undo what he's achieved. You know, there's no going back. He's gone beyond where, he's okay. Well, no, he's an absolute legend. He's created so much.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a fan of some of his books or there must be something that he's created that attaches to you. Do you know what I mean? He's done so many different things. So many different things.
So many things that you don't even think about it. Because I remember I was talking to somebody, I don't remember the details, but I was talking to somebody and they were like, oh yeah, I don't really like scary movies. I'm not really into Stephen King. I loved The Green Mile. That was a great movie. Shawshank Redemption. Oh yeah, Stephen King. Player, mic drop. So you do like Stephen King. Just done so much.
What?
Exactly. So much. All right. Well, this is the time where we really get into whatever we want to talk about in any order we want. So
yep.
So I'm just going to start it off with my very favorite thing was how beautifully they gave Christine emotion, not emotion, emotion when she wasn't even doing anything. Like the car was sitting there, but the way they filmed it and the way they were just straight on with her, the way, her in the beginning when the roof shut, right? Or the radio turned on. But even if you think of that, the radio turns on, it's so simple and you feel so much from her, even her love for Arnie. And it's just literally just a car. It's not it's not thinking. It's not saying stuff. I loved that about this movie.
Yeah. Well said.
Okay, moving on to the next point. I'm just kidding.
She's got attitude.
Yeah, it totally has. Yeah. I liked how Christine was the only red car on the production line. I didn't quite understand Why was that?
I was thinking that too. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not how this works, but okay.
Let's make one red.
And that is the evil one.
That's the evil one. I love it. Something interesting, because I don't think I've read the book just so long ago. But one thing was, as I felt in the movie, it felt like she was born that way. That she was born evil with this, this soul. She was born with a soul. And through research, because I didn't remember this, that whole thing with her being born in Detroit at that, in the factory line was added to the movie. Because in the novel, Christine is possessed by the car's deceased former owner, who's like a violent man named Ronald D. LeBay. So in this one, I didn't really get she was possessed. I got her soul or her essence, whatever, possessed other people. But in the movie, it was opposite. She was actually a car that was possessed by an old owner. And so why Arnie becomes so angry and like evil like that was because he also was absorbing that, being possessed by that guy, Ronald D. LeBay.
Oh, okay.
Right,
but in the movie, I just felt it was Christine was kind of just overtaking him with passion.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a pure love affair, isn't it, between Arnie and this car? It's just literally love at first sight. They drive past this knackered old car. I love it. I'll pay anything for it. I want it. This is my car. Like, instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was totally meant to be, because it's not like her. I think I like the idea that she was born that way, because it just makes her more real versus just, a car that was possessed. But no offense, Stephen King. I probably like your book as well. But it was really meant to be, right? Because lots of people drove by the car and, didn't want it, but they were meant to be.
It's a bit similar to Michael Myers in that it's just evil just because. Just because.
I kind of liked it.
What's the reason? Just because. Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah, you're just like, okay. And I also just like, I like that they don't explain it. Like, you just get the sense that this is a possessed car, and it does have some sort of entity, whether that was from somebody else or whatever. I don't know. I just think it works.
I just think it was because it was red and all the rest were white.
You're right. The devil's color.
Literally just the only reason.
They just should have painted it a different color.
They should have kept it beige.
I know.
Would have been good. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but this is a villain that I literally was, even to the end, was on her side. Like, I knew what she was doing was bad. I knew it, but she was so badass. And even in the opening movie, I gave TT a little kind of synopsis about what the movie was about. And so when the guy was sitting in the car with his cigar, which was... Get to work. I'm just kidding. They were sitting in the car with his cigar and he ashes it in the middle of the brand new car, for crying out loud. But anyways, TT goes, "Oh, Christine's going to be pissed." And I was like, yeah, she is. And she was.
Yeah, I like how quickly they set that up. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh no. Like, it's like 2 minutes into the movie or something. You're like, uh-oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah.
He literally does two evil things straight. Like, he traps the guy's hand, and then, like you say, the guy with the cigar, you're dead as well.
Yeah.
Like, instantly evil, like taking out people left, right, and center.
There's this respect I have for "don't fuck with me" type of energy.
Attitude.
Yeah. I kind of like that.
I liked her too as a character, like I was kind of enamored by the car, Christine, the whole movie. I don't know that I wanted her to like win necessarily, because I was like, oh shit, she's fucking running down people in the streets and pinning people to walls and shit. Like, that is bad.
Yeah, but those people were bad. Not that you should kill people that are bad.
Yeah.
It's just like bad people.
Yeah.
Schoolboys do have to die. That's the rule.
That's the rule.
I mean, how I felt devastated when they were smashing her up. Like,
I did too.
I quite liked it, actually. It was a good scene. I like seeing him mess up that car. When he was stood on the roof with the sledgehammer, it's a cool scene.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
You know.
No, it was a really cool scene. It was great. You didn't at all Arnie spent so much time building that car. No, Phil's like, fuck that. I love destruction.
Again, though, with the grease like parallels where Arnie's like fixing up the car, the cool car. He's going to get all the chicks and look cool at school. You know, we're going to smash it up with sledgehammers.
And they do. And again, you're watching this like, oh no, like I wouldn't do that if I were you. But I also was like, this hurts my soul as a person who had like a pretty rare car when I was in the end of high school. And then in the beginning parts of college, I had this like cute little yellow 76 Opel, Isuzu Opel. It's my favorite car I think I've ever owned. I loved it. And it was just like one of a kind, you know, and like nobody smashed it up or anything, but I'm like, oh shit, what happened? I know, Tawny? You're like, where's the story going? But if somebody had, or if it had gotten like totaled or something, like I would have been devastated. And even when I sold it, I was stoked to sell it to somebody who really gave a shit about the car, you know, like, and so I understood this level of appreciation and attachment to the car. It's something that I didn't think I would like in the movie, but I got it. And I was like, yeah, I would be so upset.
The car was so beautiful.
Yeah.
My daughter's really, really into cars. And so I was like, oh, you should have been watching this movie with me. We'll watch it another time. So I was telling her what it was about. And she came in when they were bashing it up. And she's like, what the hell? And I'm like, she can rebuild herself. Don't worry. She's okay.
It's a magical car.
Yeah. And then
I'm not Go on, sorry.
The only other thing I was going to say, and then she had left the room, and I was saying something to my husband about, oh yeah, he didn't, blah, 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 and she came back out, and she's like, she wasn't able to rebuild herself? And I'm like, no, she can rebuild herself. She's good. And she's like, okay. Go ahead, Phil, sorry.
No, I say I'm not a massive car person in real life. Like I have a car just to get from A to B, but I'm not one of those people that, you know, over obsess about having cool cars. But Christine is one of the coolest like film vehicles ever. Like I've got a Lego Ghostbusters car. I'd say that's up there.
Yeah.
Some of the Batmobiles, I would say, and Christine, and maybe the A-Team van as well. That's quite cool. I've just Googled the 1976 Opel car, and it is a beautiful car.
It's cute.
I can see why. It's a cool looking car, yeah.
Small, yeah. And my grandfather actually did car upholstery. So he redid the interior for me. So the outside was, yellow with like a black stripe down the side. It says like Isuzu or Opel on the back. And he did all custom interior for me, all black with yellow trim. It's so cute.
That's nice.
I'll find pictures and send it to you. Yeah.
That is a really cute car.
I wish it had been more reliable, but it was old as hell and it had problems.
I'm not.
I had to go.
I'm not a huge car person. I'm like super into cars, but I have this thing. You can think I'm weird, but I feel like everything has energy that's in it, and so I'm nice to the car. Like I get this ping, like if my husband says something like, you know what, maybe we should trade in this car. And I'm like, shh, we're in her right now.
In my hair.
Stop. Or like, I don't know. I feel like objects and just like everything in the world has like an energy or almost like an essence. And so that really hurt my heart.
I've totally talked to my car before too. Yeah, like I've totally been like,
Tawny, thank God you were rescuing me.
No, I'm with you. Because I would be like, please. I mean, especially when I had a car that wasn't very reliable most of my life, probably. I would be like, please start. You know, so that scene where he like goes to start it and she's like dead. And he's like, he like has a heart to heart with her. He's like, listen, nothing's changed. Everything's fine between us. Like, please just come on. And she's like, okay. You know? I don't know. I like
That's one of my favorite bits as well. I love that. I love that scene. That's such a cool moment where it's like, it's okay. Don't worry about her. She's just nothing to me. It's me and you, Christine.
Yeah.
Off we go. Love it.
Yes, the other scene that was like that I thought, just this relationship they built between Arnie and Christine was so simple and so beautiful, where she was bashed up and he leaned on her hood and he was like, it's okay. It's me and you. We'll show them. We'll show them that they can't take us down. And she is like, okay. He has an inkling that there's something magical about this car. But at that moment, she trusts him enough to say, okay, I'm going to show you really who I am and what I can do. And she rebuilds her engine. And then he realizes, all right, we're in it. We're committed. Show me. Go ahead and show me. And she rebuilds herself. And I just thought it's just so simple. And there's just not that much there. And there is so much there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is like probably one of the highlights of the film. Like, okay, show me. Yeah. And he stood in the light and the fog lights come on and John Carpenter lets rip with the soundtrack. It kicks in with the beat and it's such a cool moment. That transformation of it coming back. Yeah. It reminded me of American Werewolf in London in that this is the big transformation scene. Get ready for this. And it's the big special effect moment. But it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. I thought when the music kicked in for the first 2 seconds, I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no. I was like, we're about to have a Carrie moment where this music is going to be wonky for what is about to happen. Yeah. But no, it was a perfect blend of like what they were going for. Because there is this like weird sensual nature to this. The way that he talks to her. And of course, what he says, show me. And he stands back and she, regenerates or, repairs herself. And the music comes in, so it's like saxophone or something. And I was like, oh no, this is gonna get so cheesy. But it didn't. It was perfect. It was perfect for the scene. And I thought to myself, like, this is what it is to have a movie that is fucking timeless. Like, I know that there's a lot of references to the time period and stuff, but this is something I think they did really well. Even though you know that you're in certain time, like it's a period. Not a period piece, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's set in the 70s, but it feels timeless because nothing is too over the top. Like the music, the outfits, nothing is too much. And I was super impressed by that.
Oh yeah. I love that. I love that you said that because you're absolutely right. Even the music choices, the ones from way back in the 50s, the ones, Bad to the Bone, these are all things that people still like and listen to and hear. So you're right. It does make it very timeless. I thought the soundtrack was awesome. I thought the music and all the different pieces was so spot on, unlike Carrie. It was a little wonky, but that's okay. We're not talking about Carrie.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree on Carrie as well. It's a wonky film. It's not aged well, has it?
Definitely not as well as this. Like, not even close.
Now, I've got a list of highlights, and then top of my list is excellent use of music, like the radio in the car and just how Christine uses the songs to communicate, which got nicked by Transformers. Bumblebee does the same thing. If you've seen those movies, there's the car that can only speak through the songs it plays. Yeah. I just think every song is perfect. Yes. Those doo-wop 50s, 60s tunes they're awesome anyway. That kind of music's works for me. Anyway,
it works for me too, and I hate that kind of stuff. Honestly, like 50s.
I love it.
Really, like 50s-y stuff.
Yeah, I love that kind of music. That era, I think, just works for me. But yeah, if you think it's dog shit, that's fine.
Well, I mean, just as an aesthetic and a time.
Yeah.
In it, whatever. I don't know. It's just never appealed to me. Like the outfits, the music, like the diners. Like, I don't know. It's also very like eye-rolly for me. I hate it.
Tawny literally, she said the diners and she rolled her eyes.
The diners.
Fuck those diners.
Oh, God.
I love it. That's why I think of like Americana and just that era. I just think is so like interesting, and that time period. I love it, but I have a complete opposite view to you.
Yeah.
But
get those poodles off those skirts.
Exactly, dude. I fucking hate poodle skirts. I hate them. And the black and white, like diner style floor. Hate it. Get it all out of here. But
I want to be Marty McFly and go back in time and do that, but never come back.
Just stay there forever.
Just stay.
But But it's worked so well in this movie for me. Like, again, I don't like that stuff usually. But this was like, I don't know, it just hit right. It was like, it was so good. And it made me be like, oh man, this is iconic. And Christine and the music, the whole vibe, loved it.
Yeah.
That's Christine's era, manufacture year. Yeah. And that's Christine's voice. And it makes sense that she's not playing the latest hits from 1978. It adds to the creepiness as well that it's out of time with what's going on.
Totally.
70s, Yeah.
I loved it when she played that like Always Love You song. I don't know the title of the song when he was dying. And the lyrics said that she'll always love him. And like when he touched her, the actor, that Keith Gordon, he had said that he just, in all of his movements, and I think you hit on this, Tawny, earlier, all of his movements, the way he delivered his lines, he just imagined he was delivering it to a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it makes sense as well. You can see that in his final caress of the car as he's dying at the end. It's like, I
do love the 50s era music too. I think I love music from all the different eras. But I love how much Tawny hates poodle skirts. It brings joy. It's just funny.
God,
I love it.
The worst. Stupid fucking ponytails. Yeah.
Ponytails.
I don't know. Like when I think about like a 50s, it is the poodle skirt and it's like, a blonde girl with a ponytail. I'm like, get it out of here.
Victory rolls.
I think Tawny has some trauma related to the 50s. She's as a kid, something happened 50s era related, or maybe it's a past life trauma.
Maybe, yeah.
I did write down that so now when the bullies come and wreck Christine, it plays that song, Keep on Knocking, But You Can't Come In.
Yeah.
Keep on knocking, but it uses that song twice, which I wrote down. I think they could have maybe found another song for the second time.
I agree.
It repeats one song twice.
Yeah, something could have worked better for that instance. Because the first time it's against Arnie, who's trying to get in the car. And I thought it was very...
perfect.
Yeah, like spot on. But then with the bullies, it was sort of like, I don't know. I wish there was something that was a little bit more, I don't know, menacing or something for them.
Revenge. Something regarding, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
I don't know what the song would be, but I'm just saying there's got to be something.
Maybe they just got the rights to that one song. It works for both scenes. Let's just stick it in again.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess.
But that was the only thing that annoyed me a little bit with the choices of music, just the repetition of the same song twice. It was like,
You know what would have been a good one if it was from the 50s? Is like, one way or another, I'm going to find you.
I think that was
it's
way later.
Well, 60s or 70s, not 80s.
That's Blondie in the 70s, I think.
Yeah, 70s or 80s.
No, I know. I said it would be cool if it was from the 50s.
Oh, okay, got it. I was like, I think you're way off there, Felicia.
Rewind the tape, sister.
My fault.
I want to tell you, no, it's okay. Just to add, since we were talking about how they rebuilt the car, if I can interject, because one of the biggest things I wanted to research after the movie was the cars. I said to my husband, how many of these cars did they destroy for this movie?
I was wondering that too.
Okay, so let me just interject and, if that's okay. I'm sorry, Phil. Did I cut you off on your list?
No. I don't know how many cars there is, so I want to know.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So first of all, as far as making the car rebuild itself, the special effects team made rubber molds from one of the cars, including a whole front end of the car. And one of the cars was stripped of its engine to accommodate internally mounting hydraulics that pulled the framework inward, crumpling the car, and then shot it backwards, or then run backwards from the film. So that's how they did that. But into the cars, I got really into this. 15% of the budget was on buying cars. So what they did is they put ads all over Los Angeles for a 1958 Plymouth Fury, Belvedere, and Savoy. And so I looked up all these cars, and they are very similar, but with different body pieces. Right. So all of those cars were those types of cars, like the Plymouth Fury, the Belvedere, and the Savoy. In the movie, it's supposed to be the Plymouth Fury. They purchased 24 of them in various states of disrepair, which were used to build a total of 17 copies of the film Car. So several vehicles were obviously destroyed during this filming, but most of the cars were the Savoy and Belvedere models that were destroyed, not the Furies. They were dressed to look like Furies.
Were they more common?
Yeah, they weren't as expensive.
Okay.
Yeah. Not sure about the I think it was really hard actually to find the Furies, and the Furies were more expensive.
Okay.
So, at least one 57 Savoy was used, its front end modified to look at like a 58. So again, 23 cars were used in the film. All of them but 2 were destroyed and sold for scrap. One was bought by a collector, Bill Gibson, shout out in Pensacola, Florida.
Where are you, Bill Gibson?
Well done, Bill.
And then the other one was auctioned off at an auto auction in Florida in 2020. Florida. The people in Florida got the cars.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is everything. So they were destroyed. In different, like the rust one wasn't repaired. They had one that was rust and all of that. And they were all destroyed but 2.
It's seamless as well. Like you say, there's 20 odd cars. You can never go, oh, it's a different car there. It's all the same car to me. It looks seamless.
Yeah.
And that regeneration scene still stands up. It looks incredible.
Yes.
Amazing.
I totally agree.
We were watching it going, how did they do this? Like,
it's amazing.
We thought maybe it was a miniature. We thought maybe they had built like a mini model and
that's what I thought.
Crushed it and then done it in the reverse or whatever.
Yeah.
But, interesting.
Yeah. That's all I got on those cars.
The cars are really cool. Like, I am, again, not really a car person, but I come from car people. My grandpa, like I said, did car upholstery, had cars, showed cars. I've been to many a car show in my life. And my dad also had I think it's the same car that Dennis has. It's a...
Oh, right, yeah. That was like a cool car as well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Charger Daytona 500 is what it is that he told me he was going to give to me when I got older. Spoiler alert, he sold it.
What?
Still disappointed, Dad, who's listening to this, watching it on YouTube probably.
Trauma.
He taught me how to say it. I don't remember what year it was, but he said it to me so much that that's how I can repeat it back to you. Charger Daytona 500. And it was going to be painted a pearlescent purple with black racing stripes or whatever, or a stripe down the center,
Yeah.
But he had to sell it. And so when I saw that in the movie, I was like, oh, I know that car. I know it.
Why?
I brought up trauma from you, yeah.
My car.
Oh, I love it.
So everyone loves Christine and pines after this cool car, and you're like the secondary car. Oh, that's such a cool car.
I know.
Oh, that's great.
It's because it's not from the 50s. I'm telling you, the 50s shit, not for me. Don't care about the Christine cars. 70s cars, muscle cars, 70s and 80s. I'm more into that.
I would take a Christine, not, killing my family. I was actually thinking about this when I was getting ready. I'm like, would I have Christine? And I'm like, well, if she was a protector of the family, then yes, maybe I would. She protects us. We all can get in her. But then like, if there's like somebody who, oh, hey, do you have room for me? No, we don't have room for you. Sorry.
I don't think that's how Christine works. I think it's just a one-on-one.
Okay.
Very, very intimate relationship you found with Christine. It's not a group thing.
Oh, you're right, because that man, his daughter choked in the car.
Yeah, and then
Christine doesn't like to share.
Oh, yeah.
His wife died, and this is the one I have 3 things that I don't like about this movie. This is one of those 3 things, is that she kills Arnie. Like, even if it was not super intentional, I just feel like it didn't make sense. Because at least with the last guy, she eliminated his whole family before she killed him. So it felt like there was this process kind of that she went through where it was like she killed everybody that person loved and then, consumed him finally. Like, but he was the last one to be taken out. And so to kill Arnie, I just thought I felt like it didn't make sense.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think of it that way because I thought she was going around and killing people. He wasn't in the car. And so he happened to be in the car at this point, and just because of the impact, because she was trying to kill that girl, he flew out of the windshield and died. Like, I didn't think that she had killed him. I could be totally wrong. That's how I had read it, because typically when she's bashing around, he's not in there. He happens to be in there at this point, and she's so furious. She drives in there trying to kill that woman, and he is propelled out of the windshield, and that's why she plays that romantic song.
I just feel like it's so preventable. What about seatbelts, Christine? Don't you have seatbelts?
No, there wasn't. No.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Did they?
But then,
they didn't.
In the 50s?
Arnie's so trusting of the car that he probably feels like he doesn't really need to wear a
maybe.
seatbelt because he's safe in his beloved car. But it did feel like sort of a weak end for that character, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want it. I didn't want him to
no,
die.
That was a weekend. It was just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, he's not dead. Like, I was like, there's no way. He just had like a moment where he seemed like he was dead, but I was like, he's not dead. And then she gets out of the office and she's like, Arnie's dead. Or I'm like, oh shit, I guess he did die. I don't know. I just didn't.
Yeah. It was quite quick as well. The whole his death was a really quick moment. I was just trying to think, what else could they have done with Arnie? Like, how do they dispatch him in the book? Does he die in the book? I don't know. I'm just trying to think, is there a different ending that could be a bit more satisfying than the one we get?
Yeah.
But I do agree, it is a bit of I don't know, it's one of the weaker points.
Felicia's looking it up.
Yeah. The malevolent
Fact check.
The malevolently sentient Christine quickly coerces Arnie into being a willing accomplice in the murder of Arnie's tormentors, further isolates him socially, deform his personality into a caricature of masculinity, and finally kills him.
Oh.
So he dies too. We just don't know how in the book, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like with a lot of Stephen King adaptations, they kind of get the nugget and the idea, and a lot of things just run with it and do their own thing, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, Arnie and his mother die in an auto accident. I'm just...
Yeah.
Whatever.
Not just... I was like, what? How? This is like so... Okay, there we go.
I almost thought that once Arnie died... This is another thing that I think just doesn't gel with the scene for me, is I felt like once Arnie died... in some way, even though Christine seems to be like an entity on her own, I thought that maybe there would be this link severed or something. Like now that she can't she can't like suck life from somebody that she's possessing in a way, like she would stop working, because she sat in that guy's yard for who knows how long after the previous owner died. So I kind of thought that would be the way to defeat her is, oh, now that Arnie's dead, she doesn't have anything to do. So I almost wish maybe, just to answer your question, Phil, maybe if he had died earlier or by something and then she's still alive, that would have added like maybe an extra element of like, oh no, we really have to fucking kill this thing because it's never going to stop, you know?
There's a part of the film where, because obviously the windows are blacked out and Christine's killing people, it's a bit, what's the word? Ambiguous.
Yeah.
If it's actually Arnie or Christine doing the killings, you don't actually know who's driving. Is he even in the car for some of it?
Yeah.
So there's that mystery element that I quite like.
I do too.
And I think maybe that's why they tried to get him out of the car through the window like that so quickly. I mean, they didn't have to kill him. But yeah, that was the time. Because when I was watching it, because I didn't remember, I watched it so long ago, that I thought Arnie was in the car the whole time. Because he was acting kind of like a jerk the whole time. And then my husband goes, oh no, he's not in the car. And I'm like, what? And so then he was in the car and I'm like, see, he is in the car. But then they ejected him and the car drove by itself. I think that was supposed to be the big aha movement of, oh gosh, she's doing these killings on her own.
And we get scenes with like, so Darnell gets killed in Christine, but Arnie's got the alibi the next day with the police because he's got receipts. He's been spending and he's been off doing something else. So it can't have been him involved.
And he seems genuinely shocked about what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite a cool moment as a viewer as well, where he comes back to Darnell's and Christine looks pristine again.
Yes.
Oh, whoa!
Yes.
It was a smouldering wreck before this.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he's dead in the front seat, and you're like, oh, what's in it? And she's perfect. Okay.
Love it.
I have it for you guys. I have it. I found, let me give credit to the StephenKingFandom.com, and it's about the book.
Woo!
It's about the book. So can you want me to tell you the ending of the book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So everybody, if you want to read the book, you don't want the ending, stop now.
Or skip ahead like 3 minutes or something.
Oh yeah, don't stop. Skip ahead because we have more good stuff for you. That's better, Tawny.
Stop listening to us
anymore.
Unsubscribe.
Bye!
It's been fun. Okay. The novel ends on an ambiguous note. Arnie's father is found dead in Christine, apparently from exhaust fumes. Arnie and his mother die in an auto accident. Witnesses to the accident saw 3 people in the car before the crash, but only 2 bodies were found. In the meantime, Dennis and Lee managed to destroy Christine in Darnell's using a huge pink-colored septic tanker truck named Petunia. And Dennis is informed by police detectives that the remains were fed into the crusher in the back of the garage and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's how that... And then Dennis and Lee, by the way, they attend college together and they consummate their relationship.
Saw that coming.
Dennis is a teacher in New Jersey and Lee is a housewife in New Mexico. What?
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Awesome.
But we could say the last page details that in Los Angeles, Sandy Galton, one of Buddy's gangs, has died a mysterious death when a car burst through the wall of the theater where he was working, instantly killing him. The final words of the book convey Dennis's horror as he contemplates the possibility that Christine has repaired herself and pursued him and now be working her way east, targeting Lee and LeBay's brother and sister, saving Dennis for last.
Ooh, I like that. I like
That's
that
interesting,
ending.
though. That's kind of like Carrie, where now the end of the book, the main character focus has shifted. Like, I mean, Dennis was there very strongly, but it was Arnie and Christine. And now all of a sudden it's Dennis, where Carrie, it's all about Carrie. And now it's this chick that's screaming in the bed that I forgot her name. Yeah.
Sue Snell.
So,
yeah. This is the second thing that I have a bone to pick with this movie. I don't like how and I never like this. This is, I think, just purely a personal preference. I don't like when we switch protagonists and like we don't know who to follow. So we start off the movie following Dennis, and then we switch and we're like, okay, wait a minute, this is Arnie's story. And we're with Arnie for a long time. And then it's like, oh, wait, we're back to Dennis. I don't like that in the movie either.
That's a good point.
No, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I think it's... are we following Dennis? Are we following Arnie? It's because Dennis gets sidelined once he gets injured at the football game. He's out of it for quite a big chunk, and then he comes back, the big hero at the end. It's yeah. I don't like that either. I don't like that.
I agree with you, Tawny. I think that's weird because it's him, then it's Arnie, and then all of Arnie's transformation into this other person we don't see. We see he comes back. Every time he comes back, he's a little bit different. Maybe that's what they wanted. But yeah, and then this guy is like, peace. You're in the hospital the rest of the movie. And he's done. But then at the end, oh, we're together. We're saving the world. Like, what's happening here? I'm Team Arnie Christine. Like,
Me too. I mean,
what I'm hearing is just all you care about is Arnie and Christine, and you don't care about anyone else, and you love Christine killing people. That's all you're about. You love it.
Those bullies were really bad, but Arnie,
they're really old.
Yeah, they're yes. I think the person. I think what I'm totally Team Christine, but the sad part was Arnie. Like, I liked that they loved each other, but she was making him evil. She was making him a jerk, and and really bad. I didn't like, so that made me go, okay, well, Christine's got to go. I guess this love affair can't go on forever.
Yeah. I'm here to say, bros before hoes. I'm team Dennis and Arnie. Okay. I wanted Dennis to help Arnie and save him. I really didn't want Arnie to die at all. And I think that's the one relationship that I feel like is higher than the rest. Because I like the relationship with Arnie and Christine, but I do think there's this like, you know, he's obsessed with her. It's unhealthy. It gets brought to this unhealthy level.
Relationship.
Exactly. It's a toxic relationship with Christine. And like, I just really wanted him to be saved by his friend Dennis, who was also an amazing character. I really loved him. He just was such a good guy. That was his role to play. And I just,
I agree.
I just realized that. I think like Christine kind of succeeded where Dennis failed as a friend. I think Dennis was trying to bring Arnie out of his shell, like be more confident, stand up to your parents, be more successful, try and get a girlfriend. As soon as Christine comes along, he can stand up to his parents, he gets the confidence, he gets the girls. It's like he's kind of outgrown Dennis in a way. That friendship's kind of come to an end.
Yeah.
I think that's quite an interesting like high school thing. You have friends and some of them you kind of drift from. I quite like that.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about it that way.
I do agree. I loved that relationship, that friendship between Dennis and Arnie. It wasn't a lot of times when you have in movies the football player who's more popular and the person, quote unquote, the nerdy guy, right, that people bully. The popular guy has kind of a internal struggle with being popular and hanging out with those people and being a friend with somebody who's not popular. There was none of that. He was a very genuine human being. He loved Arnie. He stood up for Arnie. He had his football friends. He had Arnie as his friend as well. I thought that was a really cool, well-rounded character. And I like what you bring up, Phil, about how I didn't even think about that, how she was able to bring him out of his shell. I really like that.
It's nice for the initial flush, but then when he turns into a real cocky, arrogant arsehole, which he seems quite happy that Christine's taking out bullies and killing people. It's like, kill all the shitters in 79. Yeah. No, you've gone too far, Arnie. This is bad.
Totally. Yeah, he's like a toast to all the shitters, or to death. All the shitters dying.
Oh, yeah, that was oh God. It was a great quote, though. But I was like, oh, shit.
I love his reaction to that, though. He's like, I can't drink to that, Arnie. Like, you fucking dark fuck. I can't. What are you on?
Oh, how about when he says it to the cop, when he says, isn't that what you do with shit? Scrape it off the ground?
Yeah.
Oh, bad boy.
I know. I was like, the balls on this guy.
Damn.
The balls. The lines are so insane. Like, and when he's talking to Lee and he goes, you know what I think? I think you're just sexually frustrated. I was like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
The balls. I mean, just the sheer audacity of this guy. You got a cool car and now you're fucking going around talking shit to cops, your girlfriend, you're smacking around your dad, getting contacts. What kind of fucking audacity? What is happening?
Fucking Tawny, that was amazing. You're beating the shit out of people. You're smacking your dad. You're getting contacts. Who the fuck do you think you are?
You edgy motherfucker.
You're getting contacts. Get those glasses back on your face. Oh God, that's great. Yeah, I agree. I loved it. I really like when people say things that I've talked about this before, maybe make you uncomfortable, that have like, they're super ballsy like that, especially if they're things you're thinking. And people say it and you don't feel like you can say it. But that always, whenever somebody says something, you're like, oh, to me, that's always a good feeling. Like, you're like, oh, damn.
I can't believe you said that.
I can't believe you said that.
I feel like
I wrote down a few lines that I thought were kind of, they've not aged well, but they're good lines, but I kind of like them in a guilty pleasure way. I want to caveat that before I say them and inevitably chuckle.
I've got my own list. I wonder if it's going to match up.
We might have a few. I'm going to tick them off then. So someone says they've got the body of a slut.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's nice. A walking sperm bank. There's another one.
Oh,
awesome.
Man. Can we talk about this whole exchange? I was like, what is happening? This whole exchange, he's like, walking sperm bank. He was like, yeah, I feel like I don't have enough of even money to make a small deposit or something. It's like, what?
Ouch.
Okay. And he's like,
I've got one more.
Okay.
So, sorry, but this one is pure gold. I can't let this one slip.
Go.
So, new car is the best smell, except for pussy.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he says it later. Arnie, right? Says it towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wondered how you would react to, because it's, you don't hear lines like that in modern cinema too often.
I love it. What are yours?
Mine are less.
It's quite shocking.
Yeah, like.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I agree. Mine are less targeted at like that kind of stuff that didn't age well. Mine are ones that made me laugh my ass off because I thought they were very funny and like weird, but I was on board for them. Yes. Oh, there's so many. It's very quotable in a way that I didn't expect it to be. So here are mine. This is probably my favorite line of the entire movie. It's when the garage owner guy is talking to Arnie and he goes, I know you ain't exactly got money falling out of your asshole.
Yes.
Great line.
Oh, that's so fucking great.
My second favorite that I wrote down is it's Arnie's mom talking to Dennis and she goes, Arnie doesn't know anything anymore. I was like, what is that supposed to mean? Okay.
Arnie doesn't know anything anymore. Okay.
And last, I have, this is Arnie talking to Dennis. He goes, has it ever occurred to you that part of being a parent is trying to kill your kids? See you around, pal. And he just leaves.
And then he just leaves.
I was like, what the fuck? I didn't hate them by any means. Like, they just made me laugh. I was like, what? Okay.
It's odd. There's some really odd. I think they tried to ramp up the language because you might have read that, there's not too much blood, there's not too much gore. The deaths are not too extreme. So I think to kind of get more of an edgier rating, they ramped up the swearing and the language to try and oomph it up a little bit. Okay. I think they succeeded as well.
I agree.
There's
also something else that the shop owner, I should have written it down, but he says something about like, oh, if you poured ice water down he was so mean. If you poured ice water down his throat, he'd shit ice cubes or something.
Yes.
I don't even know what the fuck that means, but sure.
What did you think of that Darnell character? He was quite odd because he kind of arrived in Christine. There was no verbal deal made about parking his car there. And he packed up and that was it. It was very odd.
Yeah, I think
that is weird.
That's what those spaces were for though, right? Because it said like honk if you want to come in and there was something. I missed that. Okay. Well, there was it was very quick though, because I was confused about the same thing because it was a junkyard. So I'm like, why is he bringing it to a junkyard? And then the whole thing was like Darnell parts, but right under it said something like,
do it yourself.
Yeah, do it yourself. Yeah, exactly. And I was okay. So I think he just assumed. And then when he was going up to him and he was just like, you fucking punk, you creep. Yeah. And I was like, geez. And then, but I wanted to give it a chance. So when he started walking away all grumpy, I thought, I bet this guy is really a nice guy. And he's just been really taken advantage of by a lot of young kids in their cars. And so he wants to intimidate. And he did. He turned out to he was like, maybe I'll even give you some money towards the car. And I was like, I'll have to think about it. That was a moment I felt embarrassed. Embarrassed. I felt like, this guy is being nice to you. Like he's trying to make a connection. He's even offering to help pay for some of your repairs. And you're like, I have to think about it. He's like, oh, fuck you, kid. I was like, say yes. I'll clean up the freaking toilets. Come on.
I know. I was like, say thank you. Because he's like, I didn't say that you could use all my parts. you wouldn't be here if it weren't for me. Like, you'd have to pay a shit ton of money to fix up this car. And he's like, I know. I'm like, why don't you say thank you?
Yes. Can you say, oh my God, thank you so much. Yes, I will happily put toilet paper on the little spoolie thing for you.
It was just little jobs, wasn't it? Yeah, just put the toilet roll on the thing. Oh, yeah, I'll think about it. Yeah. That's an olive branch. Just be friends with him. Make friends.
Yes. You want him to be your friend. You have your car here. You're using his stuff. Jeez.
I absolutely loved this guy, Darnell. I mean, I just was like, this fucking character is so... I mean, he has, so few lines, but the lines that he has, he really knocks out of the park. Just an amazing, amazing actor. I liked the character of him too, because you get so much in so little dialogue that he is not a terrible person. He has been taken advantage of. That's why he's so on guard about it with Arnie. Nobody takes advantage of me. Like, why don't you go do this shit for me? And then when he's offended, when he's like, I'll think about it. He's like, well, don't think about it for too fucking long. Brilliant. Loved him.
Yeah, I loved him too. I did.
There's not really a bad character in there. There's not too many characters I dislike.
So one of the things, I loved all the characters. I did not enjoy Lee. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't either.
She is a pretty girl, but I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I enjoyed everyone's acting. I thought Arnie did great. His character arc where he was like this nice guy, but great. I loved his friend. I loved Darnell. Even the mom, Arnie's mom.
Yeah, great.
I hated her. Then I felt bad for her at the end. All of this stuff going on. Then there's Lee. And I just thought she was a pretty face. And literally me and my husband, in unison, laughed out loud in Darnell's shop where Christine's headlights were on her. And she was standing there.
Yeah.
Like this thing. And this look. My husband, we both laughed out loud, and then my husband reenacted it. That's how hilarious it was. So I thought she was needed. She most definitely was needed as a character. I just thought the acting was most definitely not there. Yeah. That's my opinion. But
do you think that's just like a kind of an 80s horror female role? Like, there's not always the best parts for female characters in these films, and she's just kind of a victim. Maybe not the actress, but the character is kind of just a symptom of that era of films, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder, I mean, that could be, because I know in Carrie, like Sissy Spacek was amazing. She was the main character of the film as well. But I thought maybe some of the other girls, I'm trying to think. That's a good point. The one girl, Kelly Preston, who is just like very, very quick, right? She likes Dennis.
Oh yeah.
But he's not interested in her. I like Kelly Preston as an actress. I wonder if she would have given up. Okay, so now I talked myself through it. Thank you, everybody, for going on my mental journey with me. I think, yes, there was a limited amount there, but she had enough of a role where I think it could have been realistic, and I think it could have been acted better. I do.
Yeah.
I don't think...
It was a weird... sorry, carry on.
No, you go ahead.
I'm so rude.
Yeah, let's not have him on again. Where's Laura? Just kidding.
She's cruising around in a car tonight, causing mischief.
Just kidding.
I thought the blonde girl was Kelly Preston. Yeah, it was just a weird kind of subplot that went nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was clear that she had a thing for Dennis, and, he never really noticed it. It just went nowhere. I was expecting that to, she'd come through with be a couple in the end or something. Or she might be at risk to Christine at some point. No. Nothing from that storyline.
It does feel like a lot was cut, doesn't it? It's like... I don't know. There's moments. This is my third dislike about the movie is that we did not get any sort of development with, the relationship between Lee and Arnie. All of a sudden now they've been dating for what feels like months, and
yes.
I just was like, it took me way out of it because I was like, what the hell is going on? I don't get it. And so I think some shit was cut there. I wonder if there was some kind of plot with her that, the other girl that got cut at some point too, because it didn't. Yeah, it's like, why leave it in there?
Yeah, I totally agree with you in that scene, right? When she's like, "Can I come over? I want to talk to you about Arnie," right?
Yeah.
And so they're talking. She's like, "I'm worried about Arnie." That's all she said, and not even very convincing. She's not even crying. She's like, "I'm worried about Arnie." And then he's like, she nuzzles him. Then his mouth is in her hair. He like has his hands through her hair and his mouth. And he's kissing her head. And I'm like, dude,
what happened? Yeah, it's like,
happened?
I feel like they didn't even hang out at all.
Ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
He was in the hospital. He had a crush on her, but like he's moving fast. Like he's not concerned about Arnie then. But I don't think that was the intention. I just think that was really bizarre.
Yeah.
I did do a bit of YouTube research after watching the film this afternoon. There was a deleted scene where you see Lee and Dennis kissing, and they're going to tell Arnie that they're going to be a couple. And you see Christine in the back of their car pulling down the street, and there's a confrontation between Dennis and Arnie. Like, fuck you, that's my girl, this kind of thing. So there was a scene showing that they were a couple.
That just got taken out.
But it was cut. Because there is that moment you mentioned where they're nuzzling up. It's like, where did that come from? In the final film, that seems really over intimate.
Yes.
It doesn't really work. It's odd.
I can understand wanting to cut that relationship totally because it's not really needed. However, when you already have a scene you're keeping where they are very intimate, then maybe you should leave that in so that we all have context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You do need the scene where Dennis and Lee get together because the final scenes is them versus Arnie in the car. So they do need to see them. Let's unite and take down this weird fucking car thing.
Yeah.
It would almost make more sense, with the flipping between Arnie and Dennis. Like now, knowing that Dennis and Lee are intended to be a couple feels less disjointed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It just seems more Dennis versus Arnie over the girl rather than those two trying to save the soul of their friend. It's, we're taking you out because we want to be a couple now without that cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final cut does leave you thinking, what? There's something we've missed here.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Maybe she was visiting him in the hospital and we didn't see that part because we were watching Arnie.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there. All right.
Everyone's looking at the notes.
I know.
Yes, we are.
Note consideration time.
This might get cut, but I just think it's really cool when he tells his dad that he's a motherfucker.
I
just
did too.
loved it. That's all. That's why it was a cool moment.
Yes. Okay. So as I said, TT was watching it with me. And when she was totally on Christine's side. And then when he yelled at Lee, like Lee wants to comfort him because she sees the car and he's like, get away from her. Yeah. She looked at me. She went like this. She like covered her mouth like, oh, and I'm like, that was a little much, huh? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, don't ever let a man talk to you like that. Or a woman, anybody. Don't let anybody talk to you like that. She's like, wow. And then when he was fighting with his parents, he's like, motherfucker. She went, oh, and I'm like, yeah, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Because I'm not Arnie's dad. She's like, wow, he's really becoming a jerk. And I'm like, yeah, he is. She still loved Christine at the end. We were both very, very happy when Christine was moving. I love that. I loved it.
I did
so
too.
when there was that big
cool.
block and she was moving, I'm like, she's going to find a way, TT. And then she said, just like Chucky. So we kind of had that little bit of love there.
It's a great ending.
Yeah.
What did you think of the guy in the junkyard with the jukebox thing
playing
the old?
Killed me. Loved it.
I thought, because I was like, yes, she's still alive. And then it was him, and I'm like, oh. But then she moved, and I'm like, yes.
Fucking delightful. Just a delightful moment. They got my ass. I was like, oh no. The music. And I was like, oh shit. They got me.
I do want to say one thing. I'm always the person when shit's going down. I think, how are they going to explain this to the cops? especially because I love true crime so much. It always comes to my mind, right? Oh, you didn't have to. Cop believed you. Like that? The cop was legit. I wrote this right here. He has no problem with the story. You guys are heroes because this was a fucking possessed car and you saved everybody. No questions about how Arnie died. He's murdered. Nothing. I get it. And I thought, wow. That's amazing.
I got kind of the impression, though, that, again, this felt like something that was originally shot and then was cut out or something. It felt like this guy knew what was happening with his car before Arnie even bought it. Like, I feel like he was hot on the trail from the last owner and all the weird shit that happened before. I don't know. I got the gist that he already suspected the car. So, because when he's, interrogating him at school or whatever, and Arnie's doing a actually very good job of trying to throw him off. He's like, oh yeah, you can see the paint difference right here and here. He's like, no, I can't. I don't know. I felt like he already knew.
Yeah, no, I agree. It does feel like he's on to him. I love that scene you mentioned where I need to mention Annie's wonderful leather waistcoat.
Oh, so good.
Very special.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you said that because I did not catch that. But that makes me like it more. Like, because I was, who would ever believe this story of these teenagers? Because I thought that scene, he was pushing him hard because he knew that those bullies, specifically, the bully was the one that was killed, and they were the ones that were bullying him. He asked him about the paint. I went, oh no, I bet the dead body had that paint color on him because of true crime. Those paint chips, they get off on your clothes. And so that's why I thought he was pushing him so hard. But it makes sense because I even said to Titi, when he was pushing him about how fast he got it fixed, I was like, so what are you trying to prove? That he got the car fixed or that he couldn't fix it himself and he hired someone? So like, what are you, oh, but maybe that's what it was. I went through this whole thing like, oh, maybe he wants to know, did you get this car fixed? Was it broken because you bashed this guy? But anyways, because I was thinking of all of those things, I didn't even catch that maybe he was onto it from the past.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It would have been quite cool if there was a scene with the policeman looking through old car records or finding a bit of newspaper clippings of a previous owner. Just one little... Yeah. Something weird's happened with this car in the past.
A misery Kathy Bates scene where he's looking through a scrapbook.
Yeah.
Driver's log.
I don't know. I honestly think you get that in the moment that he asks about the paint. Because he says, oh, I thought they stopped making this paint color. And he's like,
yeah.
I went and bought it. He's like, do you still have the receipt for that? I think that's what encapsulates for me the moment where he knows something is fucky with this car. Like, it's not even Arnie. It might be the car itself.
That's a cool idea. I like that. I thought the paint. You
can read it that way.
Yeah, I thought they had paint on the dead body, maybe.
Well, they do.
He was asking him, yeah.
I think that's what leads him to maybe Arnie with the car. But I think then he's like, this is the same type of car with those other things, hopefully. I mean, it's the same town, so you'd think that they'd have records.
Because I think, totally, 100%. I was thinking by the paint... If they don't make that paint anymore, and this is an old car that has, been preserved and that has that paint, then the detective has a slam dunk because no other car has that paint. That paint is on that dead body. You can't even buy the paint. It's got to be the car.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. But I mean, it wouldn't even make sense though, because again, the car would have been really destroyed. So how,
how do you fix it up?
Yeah, how do you fix it up if the paint isn't even made? Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
It's a nice little nugget of I like it.
I like the script. I mean, the script I think is really, really, really good for moments like that. Like, I think that's a perfect example for me why I like it is because it gives you enough to be like, maybe he knows,
Yeah.
He's onto your kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Arnie's just not letting it go. This fucking so smug about it.
I like it when the policeman stood literally in front of his car and he's, get out of here. I'm off. I've got work. I'm supposed to be at school. I'm 17 years old, but I've got to go to work somewhere.
My only last notes I have was I really liked this moment where, and I thought it was good acting. They were at the drive-in and Arnie and Lee were in the car and she was talking about, well, first of all, she's like, get rid of the car. And I immediately was like, are you kidding? Like, I wouldn't. If I was sitting in the car with Steve and I didn't know that the car, Steve is my husband, and I didn't know that the car was possessed and he's like, get rid of it. You like it too much. I'd be like, okay, you need to chill. But anyways, and then she hits the seat. It's like, he's like, come on, you don't need to be jealous of the car. You know, I love you or whatever. And she hits the seat and there's just like a flicker in his eye. It's like a boom, like, stop it. Don't do that. It was like this switch. I thought it was such good acting. It was so realistic and I loved it.
The acting is some next level shit that I just think, I don't know what it is about John Carpenter specifically. And maybe I don't have the authority to say this because I've only seen 3 of his movies, Halloween, The Thing, and this one. But I feel like The Thing, specifically The Thing and this movie, stand apart from every other older horror movie that I've seen in terms of the acting. It's just so different, so good. I don't know what he was doing, but it was some next level directing shit that really come through. And I feel like The Thing, definitely parts of Halloween, I have problems with certain moments of scenes, but everything else is really good. And then this movie specifically, again, like you were saying, I don't love Lee's performance, I think a good amount of the time, but I think some of that, it might be the writing or like just how she's supposed to be as a character. But shit, I mean, everybody does such a good job.
Maybe he's just an actor's director and he just on set gives a lot of advice and he's just really good with actors, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned Halloween. I think this was filmed in the same streets and area as Halloween.
It was.
So it's the same, it's the same neck of the woods as Michael Myers' house.
Yes.
So he obviously felt comfortable in that area and working there.
It doesn't look like it though. Feels like a totally different location.
It does. But yeah, you're right, Phil. It was filmed on some of the same streets.
Boom.
I only have 2 last things unless anybody has anything else they want to share.
I want to say something.
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh, this sounds serious.
I got to tell you. I was like, who is this hottest bully I've ever seen in my life?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that guy.
Oh my God. I mean, they showed him and I was like, oh my God. Who is this chiseled from marble man? Where did you find him? Oh my God. I mean, I was like, this guy's hot now. Like, I mean, maybe we could take off the chops, you know, like the chops were a little dated, but Jesus, we looked up pictures of him now. He's still a super attractive guy.
I'm looking at him. I can see him. Yeah.
God damn. Where'd you find this male model? And he like hasn't done much else other than this, but I thought he was a great actor too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not usually blown away by the attractiveness of somebody on screen. This was just a very special moment. I was like, holy shit. And then I didn't want him to die because I was like, I just like looking at this guy. Please don't kill him, Christine.
I was quite happy to see him die, to be fair. You don't fuck with someone's lunch.
He's an asshole.
Don't stab my yogurt. Leave it.
Yeah. I have to agree. I was happy to see him die because he was so bad, but wow, he was nice to watch. He was a beautiful man.
What?
Yeah, look, he's an old guy and he's still like, he's got some fireman vibes going on.
When they first enter that scene, do you know when they first enter the scene and you see there's a lot of people in that room, and it's there's a lot of antagonistic vibe in that room. You don't think he's a student. When you first see that guy, he must be one of the teachers. Like, what? Is he meant to be 17? Yeah. He looks older than me, and I'm nearly 40.
That's right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yes. There's no way. And there, again, it's a side note, but teachers back then were able to just manhandle in Carrie. You know, she's slapping people, the coaches. Yeah. This audio teacher, whoever this teacher is, grabs him and pushes him up against the thing, right? It's like, dang, I didn't know back in the day you're just able to whip around your students, but.
Yeah. I mean, this guy definitely also deserved it. And his death was good. Like, again, I kind of had this idea that Christine running people down, killing people was going to be really cheesy. But watching him get ran over, I think it could have been funny. Like, it was like kind of on the edge of like, I could have laughed at it, but it was serious in the tone of the movie. And I liked it a lot. It was impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah. How cool was Christine?
On fire.
Flames. Yes.
I gotta say, yeah. That's awesome.
Dude.
So good.
So good.
Driving down that dark road, no lights anywhere else and just flames. It just looks awesome, doesn't it?
So awesome. Oh, I love it. All right.
What did you think of the other great death where it chases down the other bully and it traps him in that little alleyway? And the alleyway is tighter than Christine, and Christine has to fuck herself up to kill this guy. Love it. That needs mentioning. That is awesome.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, that was awesome.
Although I was like, wouldn't you just jump on top of the hood?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, you would. He like pulls out a knife. I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with that, bro? This is a fucking car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, because it takes her a while to get down, understandably, down that narrow passageway. And again, her paint must have been all over that narrow passageway. Yeah. We're back to the paint. No. No, we're not.
You're obsessed with the paint.
That's awesome. I just have this two little notes, and one is Robert Ebert's score. He gave it a 3 out of 4, which I think is good. And he summed up this nicely. By the end of the movie, Christine has developed such a formidable personality that we are actually taking sides during its duel with the bulldozer. This is a kind of movie where you walk out with a silly grin, get in your car, and lay rubber halfway down the Eisenhower. And I just thought that was a nice thing. And then also, in case anybody has any questions on what the inspiration was, because I did, what inspired Stephen King to write Christine, because that's how we opened it, where you guys were just like, fucking killer car, and then a dog. And it was so funny when you said that, because he was actually writing both of those at the same time, Christine and Cujo. And there's some back and forth. Like, one person says that Stephen King was walking home one day in his dying Pinto, and he noticed, that he was walking home one day and his dying Pinto gave him the idea. And then also that Christine is based on a real killer car, which I'll tell you in a minute. But Stephen King from StephenKing.com wrote, "One night, as I was turning into my driveway, I saw the odometer numbers on my car turn from 999 to 10,000. And I found myself wondering if there might not be a story in an odometer that ran backward. The car, I thought, would get younger instead of older, finally collapsing into its component parts. The next day I started writing. I thought it would be a funny short story, a kind of American graffiti. Instead, a fairly long novel came out of it, a supernatural tale about girlfriends, boyfriends, and Christine." So that's the inspiration. Just so you guys know, there was a killer car. It was a 1964 Dodge 330 limited edition called the Golden Eagle. Originally purchased to be a patrol car in Maine. It killed the people died in it. The police officers passed away in the car. And then a family died in that car. People died prematurely after touching the car, after driving in the car. They were killed in the car. There was a car accident, and a child who foolishly touched the car died. Like, all of these people died. And then this church was like, it was just over here and just like, don't touch this car, it's evil. And then someone bought it and does have it to today, but it has a sign on it that says don't touch.
What the fuck?
It's called the Golden Eagle. If you want to know more, take a look at it. And I think because it was in Maine, people thought that was the inspiration for Christine. But I didn't see anything as far as what Stephen King talks about his inspiration that said that it was.
Okay. Interesting.
That's insane. That's an insane story.
Jeez. Was it all different? Do you know? Like, I mean, I imagine so because some people who touched the car died, but it like, was there like a, I don't know, continuous way that people died like this one? Like people died of inside the car of, poisoning or whatever?
No, anybody that was, yeah. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, all different ways. So for example, all 3 officers who drove the cursed sedan at different time periods died prematurely, not in the line of duty. One died by suicide after murdering their own families. Like all people died of different ways that have all came into contact with this car.
Okay.
Right.
Yikes.
Shit.
That's terrifying.
Not touching that car.
Don't touch the car.
Why would you buy it? Why would you keep it?
Come on.
Have it destroyed. Like Christine, get it all crushed.
There's people. Are you kidding me? There's people that probably want to own Annabelle and
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah.
All right.
Creepy death car.
So now it's time to score this movie. So I'm going to start with Tawny. Tawny, what would your score be for this movie?
I'm going to give this a 4.5.
Oh!
I liked it even more than Misery, which I gave a 4. And I love Misery. I love it. But I fucking loved this. And holy shit. I mean, just one word to describe this movie, I already said it, but I'm going to say it again, is delightful. Like, I just had such a fun time watching it. It made me laugh a lot. It was very funny. And the script was great. The acting was great. The directing was great, as we talked about. Everything was fucking great. I only had a few gripes, but it really didn't stop me from enjoying the movie. I just loved it.
That was
well said.
Yeah, that was a really good
You're
score.
swaying me.
Okay, good. Felicia, where do you think you landed?
Shit. I was so confident. Okay. I'm going to make Donnie mad. I'm going to do a 4.45.
Oof.
Okay.
Specific.
I hope Tawny doesn't get a different host because I just want some.
Oh.
I want to do a 4.
Wow.
Okay. I'm going to do a 4.4. That's what I'm going to do. 4.4 is what I'm going to give this movie.
Whatever you say. Whatever your heart says, Felicia.
Okay.
I'm not mad about a 4.45. I just think it's funny. You're real splitting hairs here.
I am, because I was just thinking about Chucky, and I think there was just something about Chucky. There's just something a little bit more. Maybe not. Okay, let's just hold on for a sec, because Phil's not ready either. So I did.
Don't blame me for your indecision. Don't drag me into this.
I literally walked away from it and was like, "Oh, I loved this movie. I really, really love this movie. It was so much fun."
So what are you saying?
Fuck. I hate decisions.
I love it.
I say I'm going to, you know what? Maybe, I think I'm going to match Tawny. I'm going to match her and I'm going to give it a 4.5. That's what I thought when I first left. And then I was like, I brought in all these other movies. Like, how do you put it up against like Raw and High Tension? I was trying to think of like enjoyability. It was the same kind, but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Tawny, you said one thing which kind of helped solidify my final score. You mentioned Misery. Misery is one of my favorites. So I can't, on your scale of 1 to 5, I can't go above your Misery score of 4.5. So I'm going to go 4.25. That means it's just below for me.
Okay, got it.
It's fun. Like we were talking lowlights, it's minor gripes. There's not a lot to dislike about this. It's a fun film. So I'm going to go 4.25 out of 5.
Okay, did you give Misery a 4.5?
So I'm looking at our leaderboard. I gave it like a 9.5 out of 10. It's like one of my favorites.
Okay, gotcha.
Of all time. So on your scale, I'm just going to go slightly below.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's strong. It's a strong 4.25 out of 5. That's
Yeah, it's good. It's great.
It's good. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good score.
Yeah. Man, this was such a winner.
Damn it. I was going to pick that score, Phil. But I'm staying. Yeah, go ahead, Tawny. I'm done. I'm walking away. Go ahead, Tawny.
No, it was a really great movie. I mean, it really was so fun to watch and laugh at and talk about. Like, this is a real fucking winner. Great job, Phil.
Yes.
Yes.
I did nothing to do with the making of this film, but yes, I will claim victory. Yes. And I've ranked it the lowest as well.
That was so much fun. Oh my gosh, we enjoyed ourselves so much. I hope Phil did as well. Thank you, Phil, so much. I don't know how many times I can say that, for coming on to the show. And if you can, please share with listeners where they can find you.
I can, and I will.
Do it.
We're the Horror Project podcast. We're on Spotify, iTunes, all those podcast places, all the usual places. Find us, subscribe. We'll be back in the new year with weekly episodes. So yeah, we've got a full year's worth of episodes to go back. Have a go binge, and yeah, check it out. And thank you for having me as well. It's been really good fun.
Good, I'm glad. And on Instagram, it's the Horror Project Podcast with the V,
That's
all
right.
of it, right? Okay.
Yes. You'll find us there, and we're on Twitter as well. And I've even started doing a bit of TikTok, trying to cling on to my youth.
Oh, I saw that. You do. I'm like so inspired by your TikToks. We've been talking about doing it forever. Like, it's just hard to pull the trigger, but
it's good fun. It's good fun once you've got your head around it. Like, yeah, there seems to be a lot of boobs, weird dance routines, and a small niche of horror that I've managed to try and get into.
Yes, I would agree with that. The boobs, the dance routines, and then I don't know, like the algorithm knows I'm a mom. A lot of drunk moms.
Yeah,
a lot of
moms.
drunk, yeah, tons of them. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, thank you again. Everybody, next week, the movie we're watching, we're going to stay with Stephen King. We love him. He's a legend. We're watching Dreamcatcher with Tawny's friend Trevor from Film vs. Movie podcast. So very excited about that. And you can find us on, you can go to twochicksandahorrorflick.com and find anything else from there. You can join our Discord community, order merch, support the show, do all sorts of great stuff. We're also on Instagram at 2chicksandahorrorflick. What else, Tawny?
Yeah, I would say the other best way that you can support the show, if you liked it, was to subscribe and give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts mostly. Seems to make the difference. But whatever platform you're listening to us on. So that's it. Thank you again, Phil, for being here. And we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.